Modern science is beginning to look more closely at the role of the microbiome, and scientists are starting to get a better understanding of how it affects the body. Microbiome research is driven by an interest in the mechanism of how the microbiota impacts and responds to disease. Until recently, only a small percentage of the bacteria that comprise the human microbiome were identified and studied. Due to groundbreaking technological advances in next-generation sequencing and metagenomics, it's now possible to analyse the entire human microbiome. And as each person's microbiome is as unique as their fingerprint, this breakthrough has great potential when it comes to precision medicine. This World Microbiome Day, we are celebrating the important research being carried out by scientists in this field. So, what is our microbiome, and why is it so important? Well, our bodies house a huge collection of microorganisms which include bacteria, fungi, yeasts, microbes, and even viruses that attack bacteria. Collectively, they make up our microbiome. This massive ecosystem lives in our digestive tract and is as dense as the Amazon rainforest. It assists in such fundamental things as making vitamins and minerals, supporting detoxification, producing short-chain fatty acids, defending against pathogens, programming the immune system, providing nutrients for our cells, and preventing the build-up of harmful bacteria and viruses. Microbiome research is being used as both a diagnostic and a prognostic tool, and researchers have discovered that an imbalance of gut microbiota can be linked to a number of health conditions, such as autoimmune diseases, bowel disease, diabetes, and even cancer. Source BioScience, an international provider of integrated state-of-the-art laboratory services and products, offers genomic services to global pharmaceutical companies and biotechs, and to the life sciences and academic communities, using the latest technologies, including Illumina Novasec, NextSec 500, and MySec. They provide expert services for next-generation sequencing, NGS, DNA Sanger sequencing, bioinformatics, molecular genetics, and nucleic acid extractions. For example, their targeted next-generation metagenomics sequencing package is helping to detect pathogens, which are a microorganism that have the potential to cause diseases. There is real excitement for the future of microbiome research, as it has the potential to prevent and treat a whole host of diseases, with new, highly effective pharmaceutical products and other treatments. Joining us today from Source BioScience is Richard Stevens, their Director of Genomics, and he's here to talk more about the incredible world of the microbiome. So Richard, first, could you please tell us in as much detail as you can, what exactly is the microbiome?
Yeah, absolutely. So the microbiome effectively describes a community of microorganisms, such as bacteria, living together in the same environment. So this can be made up of beneficial and harmful bacteria that live together symbiotically with no adverse effect on the host environment. The balance of this is the key and where the research is really focused on understanding. So an unbalanced microbiome is where we can run into sort of like indications of certain diseases and things like that. So microbiomes as well, they can really be found sort of anywhere, not just within the human body, but so for example, sort of microbiomes within the Sargasso Sea have been used to identify and actually to try and understand their role in nature. So really interesting area.
And why is our microbiome so important?
Yeah. So the microbiome is really important, and probably a good example to really sort of focus on is the gut microbiome, which is the area where research is really expanding at the moment, and trying to understand its impact on human health. So we know that it's absolutely essential to maintaining intestinal health, its digestion, and supporting the immune system in a healthy balance. And that's, again, like I say, that is the key really. So understanding the balance between the different bacteria and how that can impact disease, and we're understanding more now that this can include cancer, inflammatory bowel disease, and even diabetes. So.
Great answer. And how can microbiome research be used to improve health?
Yeah, so the microbiome is really important, and probably a good example to really sort of focus on is the gut microbiome, which is the area where research is really expanding at the moment, and trying to understand its impact on human health. So we know that it's absolutely essential to maintaining intestinal health, its digestion, and supporting the immune system in a healthy balance. And that's, again, like I say, that is the key, really. So understanding the balance between the different bacteria and how that can impact disease, and we're understanding more now that this can include cancer, inflammatory bowel disease, and even diabetes. So.
Excellent. And could you please tell us in as much detail as you can, what products does Source BioScience offer?
And so the advent of the sort of technology as it grows on and next generation sequencing itself can really be applied to understand the composition of the microbiome. So as I previously mentioned, there'll be a population of bacteria within the microbiome, and the balance of those is the key thing to understand. And we can use next generation sequencing to actually sort of like detect the species that are present and their relative abundance to each other, and that is how much of that bacteria is actually within that microbiome sample, and that then leads on to understanding the impact of that on health outcome. We can use that information to develop diagnostic tools, to screen for susceptibility to disease, and even healthcare products to improve patient outcome.
Brilliant. And without getting too technical, what is Genome?
So Source BioScience, we are an international provider of services. So across the wider business, we offer pathology services, as well as molecular diagnostic and precision medicine as well. And in my area in genomics, which is based out of Cambridge, so we offer a whole variety of genomic services, including Sanger sequencing and next generation sequencing. And with next generation sequencing in mind, we're offering RNA sequencing, so transcriptomics, where we're interrogating the expression profile of particular samples. And we're really pleased as well to say that we are a certified service provider for 10x Visium spatial transcriptomics, where you can actually, instead of looking at a whole sample's gene expression, and actually drill into specific areas within a cell where a disease may be having a larger impact on that organism, and actually determine at that level, basically how that gene expression profile is being affected by the disease. And that's really, really an exciting field. And then on top of that, we're offering whole genome sequencing, including what we're discussing today, the microbiome, metagenomics, a whole exome and whole exome sequencing. So we offer a complete portfolio of services to academia, biotech, and pharmaceutical companies.
And without getting too technical, what is genomics, and what role does it play in understanding the microbiome?
Yes, genomics is essentially the study of genes, their function and evolution, and the impact they have on health. So within a microorganism, within a cell, there'll be many copies of what we call the genome, which is effectively the genetic code or the DNA sequence building and the building blocks of life itself. And the study of this has really accelerated with the advent of next generation sequencing technologies such as Illumina and Oxford Nanopore, which we have in our lab, but there are others as well. So just to give an example, I've been in the industry for best part of 30 years, and over that time, we've seen in that short time, comparative to life itself, we've seen massive advances in science. And just to put that into perspective, when around the turn of the century of the millennium, the first human draft genome was published, and that took many years and hundreds of millions of dollars to decipher. And yet today, with some of these next generation sequencing platforms, you can analyze 24 whole human genomes in a single run in a matter of days. And that really opens doors to understanding and being able to do those population genetics, which will lead to better understanding disease and human health, and then better outcomes for patients.
Excellent. And where can listeners go for more information, please, Richard?
Yeah, absolutely. So please visit our website, www.sourcebioscience.com/genomics for more information. We'll be delighted to help.